Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Asia Howard, and I will be one of your hosts for NU News Hour. Our topic for the week will be public relations and its effect on news content. Is it present? Does it matter? Should it? We'll give this audio in 8 minutes, but for now we're going to move on to our first topic, press releases. This is what we found. First off, you may be wondering, what is a press release? A press release, also known as a news release, is the granddaddy of public relations writing vehicles. Most public relations professionals swear by the news release. The reason everyone in the reporting world likes press releases is summarized by Fraser P. Seidel in his book, The Practice of Public Relations. He states that everyone uses the release as a basic interpretive mechanism to let people know what an organization is doing. The next thing you need to know about a press release is, what is the value of a press release? According to Seidel, they help announce a new product or service. It's used to re-energize a product, explain a complicated product, enhance an organization's reputation, and it's also used as a crisis response. Well, how are the press releases selected then? You as a consumer do not want to be fed boring stories or things you can't talk about with your hairstylist. So PR professionals work to decide how to make their press releases worth airing. According to several different sites, books, and speakers, we have conjured up the things in a press release that make it newsworthy. A press release must have an impact, whether it's an announcement that affects an organization, community, or society, must be odd, something out of the ordinary, show conflict or proximity, how relative it is to the news of the day. Well, then what criteria must be met in order for a news release to be considered for inclusion in print? A press release must be rational, have a focus, provide facts, have no exaggerations, have nourishing quotes, limited jargon, provide a company description, have perfect spelling, grammar, and punctuation, and lastly, and most importantly, brevity. Besides knowing what a press release is, what it entails, and what it needs in order to be considered newsworthy, believe it or not, folks, there is more you need to know before we move on to our next observation about public relations. Is there a bias in airworthy press releases? According to what we have discovered as a crew, we found that there does not seem to be a bias in choosing a press release from another, other than it must be considered to be news, which has already been defined to you. Seidel says, an editor will use a public relations release only if he or she considers it news. This leads us to our next question we asked. Are press releases and publicity of the press release there to inform or just give the public bad news? We found press releases are meant to make people aware of an organization, a cause, or a product, whether that is to inform or reluctantly provide bad news. The reporter wants the story, whether good or bad, Seidel says. A press release is just one of the many vehicles that can be used to inform or provide bad news to the public through being aired on television, the internet, radio, newspapers, or any other forms of news. Wynn's Corner.
I feel that some of the brightest people are public relations practitioners. And the reason is because they have to know what's going on in the world in order to work with clients.
What about objectivity versus subjectivity? Are press releases or editors choosing press releases running on an objective mentality? Objectivity is, according to Seidel, fairness with the intention of remaining neutral in reporting a story. But total objectivity is impossible. Subjectivity is evident in reporting then because of reporters' and writers' preconceived notions, past experiences, values, etc. But which is more present in the newsroom or in press releases? Scholars of journalism believe that reporters and editors should strive for maximum objectivity. According to a Washington Post columnist who believes that American public is at fault for making public relations professionals seem as bitter enemies with the media, says, "We are only incidentally bringing truth to the world, although from time to time we manage to do just that. But most journalists and public relations professionals, most of the time, are just trying to give the public what it wants, and most of the time, the public wants trash." Although Seidel explains that not all journalists are out to find the skeleton in the closet, however, they do have preconceived biases that all of us have. Most reporters want to get the facts from all sides. We found that more and more journalists are learning to respect the public relations practitioner and appreciate their role in the process of news. Although the reporter wants the news, whether good or bad, they must understand, according to Seidel, that organizations want things to be presented in the best light, and because as a consequence, the practice of public relations, the intermediary between the executive and the journalists, gets labeled as trying to keep journalists out. That's how we see it, but is there more we can learn about public relations, further we can discuss? I believe so, which leads us to our next hot off the press story right now.
In other news, or should I say in other authentic news, video news releases have become the hot topic among public relation firms and broadcasters alike. Take a look. They have stolen our trust. They have manipulated us for years right in our own homes. What are they? They are called video news releases, or VNRs. VNRs, as defined by the American Marketing Association, are a publicity device designed to look like and sound like a television news story. The publicist prepares a 60 to 90 second video release on videotape, which can then be used by television stations as it is or after further editing. Publicists can be anyone from a PR firm, corporation, ad agency, or government agency. In short, VNRs are press releases in video form, but it doesn't stop there. VNRs appear to be typical news stories, but their creators are actually the ones doing the reporting instead of being reported on. They try to do the reporter's work so that no independent verification or additional fact-finding is done. The end result is a fabricated news story for viewers, but free advertising for companies who want their name out there. Why is it all a big deal? Because corporate advertising is now being confused with real news stories. As more news stations become bombarded with these free VNRs, it will become harder for them to pick out objective stories from the fake ones, which means more propaganda that is commercial will be on air and reach the public. The controversy of whether airing VNRs is ethical has become a major concern by the public. People expect news to be neutral and fair and consequently place their trust in news broadcasters, but what about now? A news organization that uses a VNR without verification is failing its audience. In 2005, the U.S. Government Accountability Office declared the use of a VNR by any government agency illegal, and in 2005, the Prepackaged News Story Announcement Act passed an effort to prevent the use of VNRs by the government. However, nothing has been done to keep PR firms and the like from using them. While the Radio Television News Directors Association adopted an ethics code for the use of VNRs, and the Society of Professional Journalists approved a resolution about their appropriate use. When broadcasters violate these journalistic codes, however, these organizations are powerless to take disciplinary actions against them because these guidelines are voluntary. The Federal Communications Commission have also taken an I know it when I see it approach towards enforcing discipline on broadcasters who use VNRs. Where does this leave people like us? The fact of the matter is that not all VNRs present false information or are misleading or even deceptive. The real problem is that other sides of the story are not being presented and other information is being left out. What needs to happen is that broadcasters should be required to disclose the source when they use VNRs, and the use of VNRs should be documented by broadcasters when being aired. These measures would inform the public of the sources where these VNRs are coming from, and the FCC would be able to audit VNRs usage by broadcasters. Now, news coverage has seen its fair share of change, but what does the new generation think about this? How are public relations firms reaching out to us? Dude, I only text.
Our generation wants everything fast, including our news. We have even developed ways to receive all of the information we want instantly. We have also sent PR agencies, schools, media, and everyone else trying to get our attention on a wild goose chase. Who gets us this information? How do we know what's true? How do they know what will sell to us? And what must PR do to keep up? Wynn's Corner.
The social media has arrived, and it's here, and it's going to stay, and I don't see any change in it whatsoever, other than progressing to other technological issues. If we believe, he said crossing his arms, that we cannot not communicate, and if we believe that all communication is a matter of choices that we make, okay? I'd have to say that all communication, including contacting media, is subjective.
Twitter, Facebook, text messaging, YouTube, and even big-time newsrooms have websites. Everything is fast and instant. We get the news we want, news we don't want, and make up things ourselves. This cyber world has sent everyone for a whirlwind. Was that really a facelift gone wrong? Did she really wear that outfit? Who's running for president? How many people died in that plane crash? Who decides what's true? Is it you? Nope. The process for investigating online updates and information can be done in 3 not all easy steps. The first is someone makes a phone call. Difficult, right? If someone captures a plane crashing on their cell phone or an explosion, or even wants to send a ransom notice, then someone has to call it in. The second step is for the assignment editor or producer to assign the story to a reporter. After that, the reporter does amazing amounts of footwork. It entails following the chain of events, making phone calls, and connecting with tons of people. When it comes to PR conforming, ex-news reporter turned Professor Kara Heinrich says, "Where is the next thing? What is going to capture consciousness and public attention? Universities are trying to do this, and PR agents are trying to do this, and I don't think anybody has the answer, or once they find the answer has changed. You don't just call the newsroom anymore. Often you'll be on Facebook and Twitter, and maybe some other places too that are just emerging and we aren't really talking about them. New things are coming, and we have to figure out what these new things are. The PR industry is constantly clamoring to figure out what that is." So there you have it. We want things fast and now. We are young and impetuous, but it does not mean the news has to be. PR agencies are constantly connecting to newsrooms and to us through them. There is not an answer right now, nor will there probably ever be, but you only fail when you stop looking. Thank you so much for tuning into our program today. We hope you learned a lot and enjoyed yourselves. You can now get back to checking your Facebook in class.